Welcome to the return of the Cougar Playbook podcast. This is episode 9. This is the first episode back on campus, really, since the school year started. We took a little break in the summer, and now we're back, and I couldn't be happier to have this guest on today. He is the defensive coordinator for the football team here, recruiting coordinator, also the linebacker coach. It's Coach Charles Watkins. Coach, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited. This is an unbelievable opportunity, so thank you for having me on.
I couldn't think of a better person to bring back on the first podcast that we have here in the school year because you're so energetic and involved in everything. I think you're one of the lively parts of the CUC community. I think everybody knows you as the guy who walks around with a smiling face. You're super energetic, and really it's kind of seemed like the football team has shifted in the dynamic, especially since I've been on campus. Everybody's been really rallying behind them and making that family feel. That you guys use as your motto a lot. That is something that's really been embraced. How have you been an integral part of that, of making your mark in the family?
Gotcha. Yeah. So we use the word family here. Forget about me. I love you. That's the biggest thing that we want to get across to our guys that we're recruiting, is that it's not about you. It's about the guy beside you. And then in the coaching world, it's the same way. It's not about me. It's how can I make my coaching staff better men in all areas of life. But then how can we get that on campus? It's not just about the football program. It's about everyone. It's about how can we interject into admissions, or how can we do in financial aid? How can we make someone's day in the cafeteria? So that's why you always see me with a smile on my face, because it's a blessing. It's a blessing for me to be here. It's an honor to be here. And I want to take full advantage of that. And I want to make sure that if any little thing I can do to make someone's day, I think that's, what Jesus will want. And that's kind of, our motto. We want to look, live, and act like Jesus. So that's what gets me going. And that's the biggest thing. Our head coach, he's big on family too. And that's what we get across to our guys. And hopefully you see it more and more from our incoming guys, as you see them guys on campus now.
You mentioned the religious aspect, and I think that's one thing too. It's been definitely a cornerstone for you in your life. I know you're also involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. You're an advocate for football players going on there, big pusher of that. What drew you to the religious calling, or being more grounded in faith in your life?
Gotcha. So it'll go all the way back to high school for me. I had a chance. I met Jason Avant. He's from Chicago area. He played for University of Michigan and played for the Eagles. So I'm from Camden, about 5 minutes from Philadelphia. I had a chance to meet him, and it was through Bible study. My first time going, talked to him. That's kind of when I accepted Christ in my life, and I still didn't understand it at that time. And I'm a senior. Then when I got to college, it was just different areas from a family I met, from just different opportunities, friendships I met, being invited into Bible study, going to different churches. And it was my junior year. On Easter is when I got baptized. So from then I was, before then I was still kind of lukewarm, one foot in, one foot out. But after that, I was just all right, God, whatever your plans are, let's do it. I'm full board. So he's blessed me with this, coming here, had opportunity to be the advisor for FCA here. And we just want to get our players involved. That's one of the biggest things we talk about here as a staff and our head coaches. We're going to challenge you mentally, physically, but then spiritually. We want to try to help you take that next step in life, and whatever that may be. Some people are different. Some people might come from a background where they went to church every Sunday. Someone might not even know what a church looks like. So we just want to meet them where they are and try to help them take that next step. And that's where my role come in at. Just want to help our guys say, hey, we do have fellow Christian athletes here. If you would like to be a part of it, join it. And I want to be involved in many things I can do is to help our student athletes, because as a former athlete, I feel as though I didn't do enough, because there wasn't no one that told me, hey, you can do this as well. It was kind of like, hey, you're an athlete and you're just a jock, right? And I fell into that stigma, and I'm like, man, I wish I had it different. So I want to pay it back and let our athletes know, wait, you're not just a football player. If you want to be a part of FCA, you can do that. If you want to be a part of Black Student Union, you can do that. If you want to be a part of the chess club, do that, because that's going to help you with life after college. So that's the reason why I like to get involved with everything, because I want to show our athletes here, hey, you can do more things here.
Yeah, I mean, you're an athlete for only a small part of your life,
Absolutely.
And after college, I mean, some guys have the opportunity to possibly play professionally. I know you played in the indoor football league. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then like the idea of like making a better human being, creating young men who are set up for life down the road. Another thing that you're involved in, I know we mentioned this yesterday, you're also the Black Student Union advisor at CUC. So again, you're really just dipping into all these different cultural melting pots, making an impact in different areas. How has that been going for you? What has it been like to be the advisor for them? What impacts have you made with them?
Gotcha. So it's been great. It's something that we want to do to allow our Black student athletes or just students know, hey, there is a platform here for you. There is a group you can be a part of, be involved, that can help you with how to get around on campus, to know what other opportunities are there for you. Just having that safe space for them. So there's going to be flyers going out tomorrow, I believe. We're going to start having meetings set up every Thursday. And then from there, we wanted to make it their own. It's what they want to do. If they want to come out here and have rallies or have protests, let's do it. We just want to support them. We want to get them different avenues that they can do. If they want to have different events on campus, we want to back them, and we want to just just let them know, hey, this is yours, because I think 2015, they're kind of like died down. And when I found that, I was like, hey, we gotta bring that back, because there are a lot of Black students here, and they want to be involved in these different organizations. So I'm just glad that we are slowly bringing it back together. We got our vice president is a football player, CJ, and then our behind the scenes guy who kind of like our social media, I introduce you to him, is Jalen Tucker. So we got some of our football players involved in that, and we're still going to grow.
Yeah, I mean, especially now, I think 2020 has been a weird year, and especially now we've seen the power of social media, the power of the voice of a unified group. And especially, I mean, with such a large group like the football team, you already have like your VP, like you mentioned, he's in that position. You have the opportunity on campus. And I think Concordia is one of those places that is very welcoming to all diverse aspects of life, voicing your opinions, talking about those difficult conversations, because at some point, like those conversations bridge the gaps between the different cultures and the groups on campus. And really, I mean, if we have voices like the ones that you're preaching, you're coaching your guys, we have guys stepping up in those certain roles in those organizations. I mean, it really just is going to make the community such a better place at CUC.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nose. That's why I love working here every day. It's a great environment. Like you said, diverse, and you can be yourself here. And that's what I love about it. And people are not judgmental. They want to help you. They want to help in this. I could go on and on about our administration here, our student body, our coaches. It's just an unbelievable atmosphere here.
So now we're going to take a little turn because we mentioned your indoor football career. But before you were in college, I mean, you played at Duke. You also played at Wagner College. What was that like, playing at a D1 institution, and then also to Wagner, the FCS D1, still D1 football? Mm-hmm. But what was that like?
So it was great. It was a great time. I enjoyed college. I wish I can go back to college. I wish I was in your shoes. It goes by fast, I will tell you that. So take it slow, enjoy it. But it was it was great. Playing the ACC, great conference, got a great education as well. Had a phenomenal head coach, Coach Cutcliffe. I guess the one thing was it was a little far from home. That's one thing I did realize, about like a 6-hour drive from New Jersey. But other than that, it was great. I was fortunate. I graduated early, had one more year. I got my master's in education at Wagner, which was closer to home. So mom was able to make all the home games now, and even the away games, and my sister. So that was great to get my master's in education, because I knew I wanted to kind of get into coaching. I didn't know at what level, probably high school or college. And that's why I went and played arena football, because I was like, I don't know if I want to coach yet. Didn't know if I quite wanted to hang up the cleats, but I knew my fallback plan was to eventually become a coach, and be involved as an educator.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, just getting into it. But when you were in Iowa and you played for the Cedar Rapids Titans, the indoor football league there, you were also a substitute teacher. And then you're also, I saw that you were the Northwest Junior High 8th grade football coach there. So you were getting that jump start there. But I think, I mean, I've been to Iowa City in that area. I know where Cedar Rapids is. But what was it like being involved in so many different parts? I mean, you were the football player, but you were also the football, like you were a football coach, and then you were also a teacher at the same time. That seems like three very different lifestyles that you were living all at once.
I was. The great thing about it was I was always busy. And I say that because when I was playing, it was from January to June if you made the playoffs and championship. And then I turned around in August to December, I was substitute teaching and I was coaching football. So I was actually subbing at that school where I was coaching at. So it kind of made Iowa home. That's what I did for like 2 years. I thought I was going to be a resident in Iowa forever doing that, but it was great. It just gave me something to do all year round. Provided for food on the table, but it was great. It was a learning experience. I was a head coach in 8th grade. So I was at that time, I was called it offense and defense. So I got that experience. I could make some mistakes. It was a learning curve for me. And it just got to know the kids, which was, I think is good because in recruiting, it's all about building relationships. So just if you can be able to relate to an 8th grader or ask them to buy into your program, I think you can get 18-year-olds to do the same thing.
So when you were coaching those 8th graders, did that kind of, after you got the hang of it, you were calling offense and defense, did that kind of give you that little bit more of a step in confidence to say, okay, I can do this at the high school or I can do this at the college level?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That was a huge confident booster. It was like, okay, I took a team now. I think we had 15 players and we won 5 games. And I was like, okay, great. What's next, right? What's the next challenge? And then from there, I was blessed that Code College took a chance on me, which is in Cedar Rapids. And I got done playing, body was hurting. I was like, man, I don't know how long I keep doing this. And they gave me opportunity, and which was great because it allowed me to grow. It got me out of my comfort zone because I play receiver. That's what I played. High school, I played both ways. College, just played receiver. But my first coaching opportunity was on the defensive side. So I got a chance to go there, learn the defense, did that for 2 years. And then I came back to New Jersey, GA back on the offensive side at receiver. And then that's when I got a chance to meet Coach Aubrey and got the job here. So, but yeah, it all started because of the 8th grade. It gave me that confidence to say, hey, Charles, we can do this.
During your time at Co, I mean, you had one season, you went 11-1. You also won the conference championship in 2016. You set several records in the playoffs. You had 5 interceptions in one game, 9 total turnovers in a playoff game. And I mean, again, that's the weird thing. Like you're an offensive guy coaching defense at a D3 school. Like what was that transition like for you?
So I would give credit to my defensive coordinator. He ended up retiring that following year, but he was just so patient with me. He taught me the defense. And then we had a great group of senior DBs too. I think I did a lot of the motivating. They did a lot of skill set, and it just worked. It went hand in hand. Those guys were super talented. They knew the system. It worked. And then me growing up, I always had like a defensive mindset. I always tell guys, hey, if I had to do it all over, knowing what I know now, not being the fastest, not being the tallest, I probably would have, been a better DB in college. But I always had that mindset because I was that physical receiver, always going to block, do the dirty work, catch the ball across the middle. So I always had that, and I think that meshed very well with our DBs, and I gave an insight of what the receivers are looking for. So me being a former receiver, I was able to give them some insight like, hey, when they line up like this is what they're doing. Their stance like that, this is what they're doing. This is why they release outside. So I think just playing that, it kind of gave me the advantage being a DB coach, just telling guys what to look for. And it worked for us in our first year. From there, it spoiled me. I thought every year was going to be like that. But that next year, we had a wake-up call back to reality.
I mean, I was going to say what exactly you said. I mean, I feel like you're the receiver. You know exactly what they're looking for, and that it gives you a little bit of an edge. And I think that's what's so special about sometimes you see these former players at a young age, or they're just getting started off. Like they're able to get a jump start on some of the other candidates that are out there who might have been like a GA or a student manager and wanted to get into football, but didn't have that like playing background as much. I mean, you were at an advantage already. I mean, you played really competitive D1 football, and then now you're at the point where you're playing D3 and you have a really good talent, like you mentioned at but to couple that with your great football IQ, I mean, now you're just set up for something great.
Yeah, it went hand in hand. I tell you, everything lined up. And then just being around the coaches that was there too. Coach Staker was the head coach. That was his first year. So everything just expired, and it was his first year. We won the most wins in co-history. But the reason, because we put everything together. Everything was in a melting pot, and it's all about timing, right? That's why I say you got to take advantage of those opportunities, but live in the moment too. Because I thought, hey, every year we're going to win 11 games, but that's not the case.
I mean, everybody wants to win playoff games and get to the championship. I mean, it takes the foundation you're starting off, and now you're going to be entering your second year at CUC. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
second year at CUC. So when you get to first year with Coach Aubrey, you're brought into this new coaching staff. So again, you're in this situation, not like where you know the guys, like you have those senior veterans. You come into a team and you're like, okay, this is what you're given. This was the new recruiting class that you have. How are you going to work with this? What was that kind of mindset for you early on in the summer? What were you trying to preach to those guys, like to mention, to buy into your kind of style of defense, which is really, I mean, it's firepower, if I had to say anything. Lots of blitzing, lots of hitting, and you guys aren't afraid to go after that ball.
Appreciate that. So the biggest thing I wanted to get across was, guys, you're talented. You know, they were 2-8 team for 2 years in a row, but I looked out on that field, and there were just a lot of athletes, right? I don't know why they went 2-8, but I wanted to let those guys know, hey, you're talented. Now let's put everything together. Let's put the technique. Let's put our scheme. Let's put all this together and see what happened. And they bought in. I just tried to be myself. I think with me being a younger guy, being 28, I was able to relate to them. The fact that I played the game, I was able to relate. And then with our GAs, they did an unbelievable job. They're younger guys. You know, I think our claim to fame, and you probably got to look this up, Carter, because I love to tweet this out. We were the youngest staff probably in NCAA history. Not only last year, but in history. I'm 28. My other GA was 22. Other GA's 24. And that was the defense. It was just us three. So we had to be like the youngest staff. But we brought energy every day. We wanted our players to be great. We came up with different drills. We wanted to put them in a position to be success. And once I got that across to them, once I let them know, hey, football is great, but I want to know you as a person. I tell my players this on the first day, right? Players don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And once they saw that I care for them, that made the buy-in process a lot easier. And then everything just flowed from there. So just letting those guys know I care for them. You know, our program goal number 2 is to graduate and have a life plan. When we talk to our recruits, we tell them, hey, it's not just a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. We want to make sure you graduate and you got a job. You already know all these great things, 90% job placement rate, 6 months after you graduate. So a lot of those things, because of, you know, you guys as the student athletes and students here, you guys paved the way for guys coming here. But that goes in line with our program goal number 2. This is why we do it. And I think once the guys realize that, like, hey, Coach Watkins actually cared about the person and not the jersey, it made that buy-in so much special.
I think that's the other thing too. I mean, you look at the previous seasons, so you might have some juniors, seniors that were around for that time where they were 2-18. I mean, you look back all the way to 2012 when they made the playoffs with that phenomenal record. I think it was 10-1, and then they lost in the first round. But you guys went 5-5 this year, and some people might look at that. That's like, it's mediocre 500. But that's the first time you guys had 500 or better records since that playoff season in 2012. So obviously the guys bought in, but it seemed like, I mean, this is only the start of something, but I mean, this could be the first year in process where it like clicks in those younger guys' head. This is the coach that I need. It's that little voice of reason. It's sometimes when someone says something, it makes a little bit more sense on how to do a drill or a coverage. Yep. But what do you expect from the guys this year? I mean, because obviously 2020 is a whacked up year and you guys are going to be playing football in the spring.
Yeah, so our motto is just day by day. And it comes from Coach Aubrey. Hey, We just got to take it day by day. Things can change. Expect chaos. But the team that handled chaos the best will be the most successful team. So we're telling our guys, with that, once we get everything, once we get the pads on, once we do all that, now we know what it's like playing in the net. Now we know, and now we got to teach that to the younger guys. But also, like you mentioned earlier, it gives them guys a confidence. Now they know we were saying, like, oh, it's not just hearsay now. They actually lived it one season with us. So it makes that buy-in a lot easier for the older guys, and it gives the freshmen something now to look to. Because our standard, every year is to win a conference championship, make the playoffs, have a great chance of running for a national championship. So once our guys, they're starting to see that now. They're starting to say, okay, this is not just talk. This is what we're about. So I think, them winning 5 games, having those seniors, like you said, win the most games they had since they've been here was a huge recruiting piece for us. But also as coaches for us to say, hey, we're a first-year staff. We do know what we're doing here, So I think that's just it allows everyone in the nation know, hey, Concordia Chicago is something to reckon with.
I mean, the year that you guys had last year with, the young coaching staff that you guys mentioned on defense, you guys are on the right track and going up in the sense of your achievements for the football program. So now you mentioned you use that kind of as a pitching point for your recruits when they come on or you're trying to attract guys to CUC. I can imagine, you have a lot of people that want to play football. A lot of high school kids, they're sending out highlight reels, they're tweeting at people, getting to showcases and camps. And it's going to be weird this year, obviously, because nothing's going to be the same in different states and stuff with seasons and all that with football and COVID. So as the recruiting coordinator now, you have to regroup and kind of figure out a new way to recruit guys. How is that working for you and trying to manage that?
So it's a learning experience for all of us. But I think with the things we got in place, we're able to still do the same things. We're still going to try to get as many kids on campus as possible this year. For a lot of kids in Illinois, they're moving to the spring, so that actually makes it a lot easier, especially with classes being remote. So we just want to get them on campus, get around our coaching staff, see what we're about, check out, Chicago for the kids that are coming from out of state, Florida, Texas, California. That with us having Chicago in our backyard is a huge selling point, especially for guys that want to go into marketing, go into business. They come here and see all the Fortune 500 companies that's here. So that's our biggest pitch, our location, what our degree can do for you, our coaching staff. I don't think you'll find a hungrier, younger, more outgoing, energetic staff in the nation with us. And I think, you can't truly experience that till you come around us. And that's our biggest thing. Hey, we just want to get you on campus. So as long as we can get kids on campus, I think we'll have a good shot of bringing in another good recruiting class. And that's my goal. And I tell our players this, hey, every year our goal is to bring in the best recruiting class. And I think that motivates them because they know, hey, Coach Watkin is going to bring in another guy that might be better than me or might outwork me. So I got to do a good job. So it just naturally just creates that competition. That's what we want here. It's all about competition. Nothing's given, everything's earned. And I think that's how you get that culture, that championship culture.
Yeah, the healthy competition, you get the guys that coming in and you get a couple guys that are worried about maybe their spots on the depth chart, where they're going to be. But so then you get the guys on campus, you get them around the guys. And obviously, I think the other thing this year that's really interesting is that you guys didn't have your summer camp before class. So I think the other thing too is you have your freshmen that just come to campus and the first time they're here in an actual college environment is on moving day. Whereas they'd be here a month earlier, they get kind of broken in, they kind of understand the program, the feel for what everything is like. What has it been like for the other guys? I expect there's a lot of upperclassmen here that are helping these freshmen out and getting them acclimated to the college lifestyle.
Yeah, so we do have a big brother program here. We'll match a upperclassman with an incoming freshman, and we say, hey, if you got any questions, go to them. If they can't answer it, come to us. But I think that allows our upperclassmen now to be leaders, lead by example, or be able to be vocal with those guys. But then it also gives our incoming freshmen a safety blanket, right? It gives them some comfort here. I can go to this person. He can show me the ropes, show me around. So I think having that kind of naturally help the transition, because you're right. Thursday, that's the first time we saw our incoming guys. They moved it on Thursday, and that was weird. Everybody had masks on. You had to be social distance. We couldn't go in the dorms. We weren't, allowed that. So we just had to see them in passing, which was weird. I wanted to talk to so many guys. I wanted to help them, talk to mom. Some of them just came by themselves, so they needed help, but we couldn't do that. But we just, let the guys know, hey, we're here for you. We got to take things day by day, but eventually we'll be able to practice. And we want to make sure they don't fall behind, because Monday was first day of class. So we want to set everything for them to be successful. So we laid out what the class would look like, where to get your books. So we got to go through all of this when everything turned around. Like you mentioned, when we were before in camp, we could have done that. But I think it makes us a better person. It makes us a better coaching staff. We're all learning. And are we going to be perfect? No, but we're going to learn from that to help these young men get on track and then not fall behind. That's our biggest thing. We don't want them to use it as an excuse. And our guys know that. Like, just because we don't have football, it doesn't mean we're not going to have a team GPA of 3.0, right? We're going to use it as motivation. We want to have the highest GPA on campus as a team in football, right? And these are just healthy competitions, and everybody say, well, you got like 70 guys, that's tough. No excuses. We want no excuses. If there's a will to do it, we're going to find it.
I mean, that's a great way to put it. I mean, you got a lot of guys to manage, but you guys do a good job of making sure, like, you have I think the Big Brother program that you guys got, like, that's really important, because I know coming on campus, I mean, you especially, like, you look up to that one upperclassman, that can change a freshman's whole college career, especially just the way that he carries himself and how he changes his work ethic. I mean, that's huge. Last question before I let you go. So you're going your second year, but you're already heavily involved in the CUC. So if someone came up to you and was like, all right, Coach Watkins, what do you want, like, your legacy, or like, what's your motto?
Man, that's a real good question. For me, like, it's just, hey, he serves the Lord. That's the biggest thing I want, because Jesus came here he came here to serve, not to be served. And if I can live my life like that, then I think I'm living, looking, and loving like Jesus. So that's the biggest thing that I want to try to do, is when guys see me, it points them to Christ. That's the biggest thing I want to do here on campus. That's the legacy I want to have, is that, hey, I did it the right way. I did it for the players. I did it for the students. And I did it all out of love.
I mean, that's a great answer right there. I think it's hard to do, because, like, it's just your first time. You're trying to get in your feet wet still. And then now you're thinking of, like, these big life things. But I mean, again, you can see it in yourself and your charisma and your personality. I mean, grounded in faith, super energetic, and you're always just looking to help the next guy up and then getting them prepared. So, Coach Watkins, thank you for joining me today on the podcast. Absolute blast. It's great to have you on, and I can't wait to see you back on campus and stay in touch throughout the football season.
Thank you, Carter. I'm super excited. And this is an unbelievable platform you got here. I'm a super fan. I'm excited, like I said, that you had me on here. I'm going to have to tweet out to all my buddies and get it going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have an absolute blast doing this. And I think the cool thing is that, like, you get the football guys that come up and they're like, oh, man, hey, I know you. You're the guy that did the podcast with Coach Aubrey the first time. Well, now it's going to be with Coach Watkins, and you got two of them there. And it's just another reason why CUC football the way it is, and a lot of people attract to it. So thank you again for coming on. It's been episode 9 of the Cougar Playbook podcast, and next week we'll have a new guest on. And as always, go Cougars.